Welcome to Game Theorem, where we have serious discussions about absurd entertainment.
Mutants are best equipped to deal with the world today. Who else? The ghouls? Please, normals. They brought nuclear death to us all. This will be the age of mutants. Mutants. Dr. Richard Moreau, the master of the Unity.
I'm Kira.
I'm Kyle.
And we're talking about Fallout again.
Yes. Last time we did Fallout, we told the entire story up to the Great War. So what we're going to do now is we're going to finish that. We're going to pick it up from the nuclear apocalypse and talk about what happened after the world was brought into ruin.
Mm-hmm. And that quote is from, which one was it?
The bad guy of the first game.
Yes.
But yeah, so there's been a few games. Just a bit of a recap, though, about what happened in the Fallout franchise so far. Basically, the entire world diverged from around the 1950s, mostly. It's basically what people in the 1950s thought would be the future and ended up becoming the future. Mm-hmm. But then you take that argument to its logical extreme, and it leads to global thermonuclear conflict.
Yes.
It's also like the science of the world works the way the people of the 1950s thought it would, not the way real science works.
Yeah.
Which is something I find very intriguing. I think it's called retrofuturism.
Uh-huh. Did you know that lasers actually won't show up without a thing to make them show up? So like the laser guns and stuff in Fallout, like you wouldn't actually be able to see the lasers coming out of them.
Laser weapons don't have recoil.
Yes, that too.
They're not conveying mass. So we're going to get into the story. Like I said, 2077 is the Great War. It lasted 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And that happened when basically someone fired a nuke and everyone retaliated. We talked about in the last episode who we think launched the nuke. Aliens.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, crap. I should have said this before I said that, but spoilers for basically the entire Fallout franchise.
Yes.
And one thing I need to point out, Fallout games are notorious, especially the Interplay and Obsidian ones, in allowing you to have choice. Mm-hmm. They're very good at choices. So a lot of the times there will be characters like the hero from the first game where you could do very many good, evil, or in-between things. Mm-hmm. Now, in the later games, they decided, like, okay, well, what happened in the first game? So they picked certain endings and they build off of that. So even though you can make different choices, we're only going to be going with particular choices that were at least seen as actually happening in the perspective of the later games. Mm-hmm. Sometimes this is the good option. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it really depends.
But we won't be going too into depth there because it can vary depending on how you play the games. Mm-hmm. Again, this is going to be backstory. It just happens to be post-apocalyptic backstory.
Yes.
All right, you ready to start this, Kira? Mm-hmm. Would you like to go first or should I? Just go first.
Okay, fine.
I always go first.
Okay, October 23rd, right?
Yes.
2077, the Great War. Wait, no, it was October 30th?
No, you were right. 23rd. 23rd.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure. The Great War, and this is where we're going to start everything that happened.
Now, during the war, there was a new product called Nuka-Cola Quantum that was just released to the public that morning. Trucks were en route.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so people evacuated to the vaults, including the sole survivor in Vault 111.
That was just the name of this famous person. A lot of the times the famous heroes in the Fallout world are not...
Yeah, they have a title because you can customize them, so They just call them by a title.
And this person hasn't yet earned that title. That's just what they will be known as. Mm-hmm. So, and then during this war, Vault Tech, they had actually designed the vaults to have secret experiments in them, not really realizing the full extent of the apocalypse that was about to happen.
The Enclave faction of the government survived in federal bunkers that had no secret experiments to them.
So they were exempt from the, sociological torture. Mm-hmm. Students from the Commonwealth Institute of Technology took refuge in the underground labs and survived there.
Some others survived on the surface if they were lucky.
In 2 hours, the ICBMs land, ending the war.
Pennsylvania, New York, Salt Lake City, Washington, D.C., Boston, Las Vegas, the West Tech Research Facility, and more were targets of nukes.
Mr. House, this is the guy who was like super rich guy in charge of Robco. He had prepared for this. He wasn't able to retrieve the platinum chip, and he made do with his defenses at the time. He shot down most of the nukes before they could reach Las Vegas, saving much of it. However, the toll puts him into a coma.
The Sierra Madre Casino Gala event began but was cut short by the war, and the people were sealed inside and killed by the security system.
Many people got just the right dose of radiation to become ghouls, a new subspecies of human.
And these ghouls are known as the pre-war ghouls because they were alive before it happened and became ghouls when it happened.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. They became ghouls during the war, but they have memories from before the war.
Maxon led his soldiers in an exodus from
It's important to note, that was all just on that day, okay?
Yeah, this is
So now we're just continuing in 2077.
Oh, yes, sorry. Maxon led his soldiers in an exodus from the Mariposa base, and they formed the Brotherhood of Steel to protect technology.
Yeah, they were really worried after the war about what happens when technology falls in incapable or incompetent hands. And Maxon was the leader of a former military unit. In the capital of Washington, D.C., a cave of children on a field trip survived and created a child community in the cave called Little Lamplight.
In 2078, Vault 87 produced a strain of super mutants out of FEV experiments.
In 2080, new species began to emerge that mutated from the radiation.
Skynet became self-aware.
In 2083, the ghoul survivors of Vault 12 founded Necropolis.
In 2084, Set took control of Necropolis and exiled their overseer.
So now he rules the ghoul city.
His name is Set?
Yes.
That's a really weird name.
It's the name of the Egyptian god.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
2090, Vault 29 opened, and one resident named Harold entered the wasteland.
In 2091, Vault 8 opened and used the Garden of Eden creation kit to expand into Vault City.
Yeah, Vault 8 was like one of the very few successful vaults because they were a control vault. I'd like to really talk about the vaults one day.
Yeah.
In 2092, the Los Angeles Vault opened.
Vault City exiled Dr. Richard Moreau after convicting him of murder.
In 2093, the Hub was founded in Southwest California. Richard changed his name to Richard Gray and became a doctor in the Hub.
I'm guessing these are the events of the first game.
Prior.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. 2095, some survivors from Mexico resettled in Zion Canyon, Utah.
In 2096, Vault 22 opened and was abandoned due to a mutant spore outbreak. The residents went to Zion and killed the Mexican refugees.
Randall Clark made his personal mission to kill the Vault dwellers in Zion.
Randall Clark was just a really nice guy that lived in Zion. Harold became a caravan master in the Hub.
In 2097, the Vault dwellers fled from Zion.
Vault 15 opened. The residents splintered and formed their own gangs, including the Khans and Vipers.
In 2098, some of them founded the town of Shady Sands.
In 2101, when Vault City's overseer retired, they reformed their government, creating the Council of Citizens, which was led by the First Citizen.
In 2102, when mutants began attacking from the Mariposa military base, Harold and Richard investigated the place. Harold was turned into a special FEV ghoul, but Richard fell into the vats, becoming a terrifying FEV mutant.
Oh, by the way, if you don't remember, FEV was the forced evolutionary virus that was developed by the government. It makes mutation happen faster.
Yes.
In 2103, Harold escaped, but Richard transformed mentally, becoming acute with calculations and philosophy. He founded the philosophical movement of unity from the base. He experimented upon himself, mutating himself further and attached himself to the mainframe. He renamed himself the Master and began creating an army of super mutants.
In 2110, the former students of the Institute managed to rebuild the underground levels and form their own society.
In 2123, some children arrived in Zion, and they attracted Randall's interest.
In 2124, Randall left gifts for the children to help them survive. They began to revere him as the father, and he spent the rest of his life assisting them from afar until he died of lung cancer. In time, they formed the tribe called the Sorrows.
In 2125, the Vipers attempted to raid the Hub, but they were defeated.
In 2126, water merchants seized the central water tower in the hub, leading to the Great Merchant Wars.
It's just one town. I don't know if the word great is really...
Well, that's what they're called, apparently.
In 2128, Roy Green negotiated peace in the hub, ending the Great Merchant Wars and setting up the Hub Central Council.
Cool. In 2130, the Great Winter occurs, bringing nuclear winter to the wasteland for a time. What? What is that?
Oh, you know how like people say that they wish for a nuclear winter? Mm-hmm. It happened in 2130.
What is a nuclear winter?
Oh, a nuclear winter is where basically because of the effects of launching nukes around the world, you upset the climate temporarily so that like weather vastly changes. And in a particular region, if it gets really cold, that's called a nuclear winter.
But why would that happen now, so long after the bombs dropped?
Well, the climate had changed considerably. It was a lot drier and hotter, right? It just seemed that this particular year, things manifested in such a way that this became the Great Winter, a winter colder than every other winter. Since we don't have like meteorological data, it's kind of hard to say the exact reason it happened this year.
Okay.
But there's like, you can look in like American history and see like, oh, this was a terrible winter. Like actually we have one. I forget what year it was. There was this one winter that just like killed hundreds of people.
Okay.
So just add nukes to that, it gets worse. Mm-hmm. So whose turn is it?
Yours.
In 2131, some machinists began to manufacture weapons from old schematics in the ruins of Los Angeles, now known as the Boneyard.
The Master targeted caravans to capture humans and turn them into more super mutants by dipping them in the FEV vats.
Yeah, just stop if you have any questions. 2135, Elder Maxon of the Brotherhood died, and his son became the next elder.
Yeah.
Nepotism.
Yep. 2137, super mutant production reached a 1 in 10 success rate.
And by production, you mean turning people into them.
Yes, and by 1 in 10, that means 9 out of every 10 people dipped into the vats just died.
Yep.
Horribly, most likely.
In 2138, House regained consciousness. His body was preserved thanks to his planning for the war, and he began to rebuild his network and resources.
In 2150, the Vipers recovered from their defeat and began rising in power, raiding frequently, even troubling the Brotherhood.
In 2151, the Crimson Caravan Company was founded.
In 2152, some raiders called the Rippers existed, but a member named Morpheus left them to found a cult. The cult was captured by the Master's super mutants. They believed in his vision, and the Master allowed them to live and preach the message of unity.
In 2155, the Boneyard's machinists named themselves the Gun Runners.
The Brotherhood attempted to exterminate the Vipers, but underestimated them. Elder Maxim was killed in battle, but the Brotherhood retaliated and scattered the Vipers.
The Master found out about the Los Angeles Vault and its Vault dwellers. He moved his residence to the Vault when he and his super mutants invaded it.
How would he move?
I guess they had like a flatbed truck and they just kind of like picked it up and put it on.
But he's integrated into the system. So how would you get...
This might be before he was fully integrated.
Oh, okay, fair enough. This might be at the point where he could still move.
Right.
Okay.
Super mutants are strong. They could carry it.
Fair enough.
But I imagine they'd have to travel the wasteland with a tarp over them or something.
Yeah. The Master sought out other vaults for humans unaffected by radiation to make better super mutants. One vault that was raided was Vault 17, and Lily Bowen became an elite super mutant known as a Nightkin. She was from that vault?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
In 2156, Morpheus became the leader of the Children of the Cathedral to preach unity and infiltrate human settlements as the Master dictated.
In 2157, the Master tried to take Vault 12, but was disappointed to find the Vault Dwellers were now ghouls, so instead they forced them to cooperate with the Master's plans.
In 2159, like those before him, John Maxon became High Elder.
In 2161, Fallout began when the Vault Dweller was sent into the Wasteland to find a replacement for the Vault 13 water chip.
That was the first Fallout game. Mm-hmm. In the Vault Dweller's travels, they befriended a dog called Dogmeat, defeated the Khans, killed the Master, and ended Unity.
When the Vault Dweller finally found the chip and returned to Vault 13, they were exiled from the Vault because of their hardened nature. Some Vault Dwellers joined and left with them. That's stupid.
Like, basically, they came back to the Vault 13, and they're like, you look very deadly. We're not letting you back in.
That's really dumb.
They did kill the Master.
Oh, okay, but he was evil, and they protected people by doing that.
Although, you might call the Master evil, and I would agree with that, but he had some serious philosophical arguments for what he did. Like, we mentioned one of the quotes at the beginning.
Yeah, that's fair. But still, he protected people from getting killed and turned into super mutants.
You know, in the game, one of the options, you can actually convince him that his plan was futile because super mutants are sterile.
Oh, really?
And he didn't realize that.
The Brotherhood of Steel eradicated what was left of Unity.
In 2167, the Vault Dweller and their followers founded the village of Arroyo.
In 2170, the altruist humanitarian organization of the Followers of the Apocalypse spread throughout the wasteland to help people in need, and they reported that they discovered an intact Hoover Dam in the Mojave Wasteland.
In 2178, the Institute began researching FEV and created a new strain of super mutants in the Commonwealth Wasteland. They created these alongside their synthetic person development projects.
Why would they do that?
Well, they were creating fake people, right? They were creating synthetic people.
Oh, so they thought that the FEV might help somehow.
Yeah, like so many fools before them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I just want to go off on a tangent here. Commonwealth is such a dumb name to name this particular wasteland.
Yeah, because there were what, 13 Commonwealths?
The word Commonwealth is used for so many different things. You might as well have named it the State Wasteland, the Country Wasteland, the Nation Wasteland.
Like, at the very least, name it after the Commonwealth that was in the area. Like,
yeah, the New England Commonwealth.
Yeah, like
or just
the
Boston.
New England Wasteland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, your turn, I think.
Yeah. In 2180, the Institute's super mutants spread throughout the Commonwealth. A group called the Minutemen formed and defended Diamond City from the super mutants. Oh, really? That happened?
Yes.
Wow.
In
Way to go, Institute.
In 2185, a reformed super mutant named Marcus and Brotherhood member named Jacob formed the town of Broken Hills in California, and humans, ghouls, and peaceful super mutants lived there together.
You know, that's actually one of the things that I really loved about New Vegas. Like, they didn't completely ignore the first two games like Bethesda did. They brought back Marcus, you know?
That's a spoiler, but okay.
Well, we already said we were talking about spoilers.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, fine. But I'm just saying, like, Bethesda likes to ignore any games that aren't theirs.
True.
Yeah.
In 2186, is this your turn?
Yeah, it's my turn. In 2186, Tandy and Aradesh of Shady Sands drafted a constitution and reformed the town into the new California Republic.
In 2188, the Vault Dweller sired a daughter.
In 2189, 5 states were inducted into the NCR, including Shady Sands, the Boneyard, Maxon, the Hub, and Dayglow. Each city was a capital of the state, which included the territory surrounding the city.
Yeah, it should be noted, though, that the state of Maxon was actually named after the leader of the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of ironic later on.
Yeah.
The followers of the Apocalypse assisted the NCR's rise to power.
In 2195, some super mutants that formerly were part of Unity reformed into Gamoran's army. Gamoran's army.
In 2196, Gamoran's army accidentally awakened a fearsome artificial intelligence called the Calculator within a vault.
Tandy was elected the second president of the NCR. What artificial intelligence was the calendar?
Calculator,
sorry.
The calendar. Apple will kill us all. I'm kidding. No. It was in Vault Zero.
Oh, okay.
In 2197, Fallout Tactics began when the Warrior was sent as part of the newly formed Midwestern chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel to the Midwest.
In 2198, the Enclave ramped up technological development and production.
The Warrior defeated the Calculator and its robotic army in Vault Zero.
In 2204, with all of the scientists dead in the secret Vault 81, the Miss Nanny called Curie finished the broad spectrum cure as instructed.
In 2205, the NCR made laws protecting ghouls and super mutants within its territories, at least officially.
Yeah, they were still discriminated against.
Yep.
In 2208, the Vault Dweller wrote their memoirs and left Arroyo to wander again, eventually ending up in Texas.
Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, that game, began when the Initiate was sent as part of the newly formed Texas expedition of the Brotherhood of Steel to Texas.
In 2209, another faction of super mutants tried to take the secret vault in the city of Los Angeles.
No, Loss.
Loss?
Loss.
Oh, okay. But the Initiate destroyed the vault, defeating Addis' army.
Yeah,
Addis's army.
Yeah, this was Loss in Texas.
Ah, okay. Okay.
In 2210, the Vault Dweller's daughter became the village elder of Arroyo.
In 2215, Enclave President Richard Richardson arranged for his son to rise to power within the Enclave.
In 2220, Richard Richardson Jr. was elected president of the Enclave.
The Enclave developed Mark II power armor.
In 2224, the Institute canceled their FEV experiments and shifted to looking for unradiated humans.
Why? That's suspicious. Why would they need non-irradiated humans?
Well, they needed a pure test subject.
Oh, okay.
And they realized FEV wasn't really working for them, so they tried going the other way.
I see. In 2227, the Institute hired a mercenary named Kellogg to abduct the Soul Survivor's son, Sean, from Vault 111, whose experiment was cryostasis. Kellogg only took Sean and left the Soul Survivor to remain frozen. He also killed the Soul Survivor's spouse.
True, I just didn't really feel like that was important.
It was important. They were married and had a child before the war.
Okay. Also, everyone else in the vault died too.
Yeah, and Sean was just a baby when this happened.
Right. In 2228, in the Capital Wasteland, bigotry led some ghouls to form a secluded settlement out of the Museum of History called Underworld. It should be noted that the Capital Wasteland is the wasteland of the ruins of Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. In 2229, various factions united in the Commonwealth to create the Commonwealth Provisional Government. However, the Institute was represented by a Gen 2 synth they sent that suffered from a glitch and committed the massacre of the CPG. What?
Yeah, the Institute's like, hey, we want to be part of it, but then the synth broke and killed everyone.
Excuse me? Why was this never mentioned in Fallout 4 at all, ever?
I think it's mentioned like a terminal somewhere once.
Are you kidding me? This is a huge deal.
Yeah, and that's why that's supposedly why the Commonwealth remains a lawless wasteland, because the one time they tried to make a government, they killed everyone.
Wow.
Although seriously, why is there not like a quest to like reform that?
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, the Institute advanced its synth program dramatically as it created synths indistinguishable from humans. Nick Valentine and Dima were the initial prototypes, but they soon became outdated.
The Institute tried to send another synth to Diamond City, this one in Gen 3, but after eating noodles it glitched and killed many people. What?
Yeah, a second time.
Oh, okay.
But this one looked like a person, so it really freaked them out.
Okay.
In 2231, exiles from Vault 34 found Nellis Air Force Base and called themselves the Boomers.
In 2235, the Enclave resumed experiments on genetic engineering, accidentally releasing Deathclaws into the wasteland.
Yep. Deathclaws were made by the government.
Not surprising.
In 2236, the Enclave reclaimed the Mariposa military base. They uncovered the FEV experiments and made a second generation of Mariposa strain super mutants. Frank Horrigan, a member of the Secret Service, came into contact with FEV and became an experimental subject.
You know what? Like, Deathclaws being let out into the wasteland by the government, or what's left of it, is like the perfect thing to represent government. Like, we're just gonna let these genetic abominations out into the wasteland.
Yeah, like we haven't destroyed the environment enough yet.
Yeah, exactly. In 2237, in the Capital Wasteland, descendants of the Naval Research Institute, led by Horace Pinkerton, founded Rivet City in a beached aircraft carrier.
The Enclave abandoned the Mariposa base and tried to exterminate the supermutants left behind, but the supermutants revolted and fought off the Enclave, creating their own community at the base.
In 2238, Harold arrived in the gold-filled town of Gecko, south of Vault City.
In 2239, the Enclave repurposed Frank Horrigan within power armor to be used as a terrifying weapon against Wastelanders.
That's scary. In 2240, people casted out of Diamond City formed a neighboring town called Good Neighbor.
A monstrous Mirelurk queen destroyed Fort Independence, the Minutemen's headquarters. Oh, but I just wanted to clarify, though. Mirelurk is really a term in the Wasteland that's used for any semi-aquatic creature that they don't really know. Like, it's actually, there's a whole bunch of species that are just all called Mirelurks.
Well, yeah, but some of them are called, like, lake lurks or whatever.
Yeah, there's lake lurks, Mirelurk queens, Mirelurk hunters, Mirelurk kings.
Yeah.
They're just a whole bunch of different things. And the names are just kind of colloquial with what people call them. But Mirelurk's kind of the catch-all term. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it was basically a giant crab monster that was several stories tall.
Yep. All right. In 2241, an adventurer named Herbert Daring Dashwood met a ghoul named Argyle. He stole his girlfriend, but they became friends anyway. Is that entirely within Fallout 3's world?
Yes.
Of course.
The Mordinos of New Reno invented the drug Jet.
Yeah. They have no consistency with Jet, though. Remember how
I know there's many places where, especially in the Bethesda games, where Jet will actually appear sealed in a vault somewhere or something.
Yes.
So I would argue that maybe it was based off of a pre-war design and they just vamped it up or something.
Okay, fine. Fallout 2 began when the Chosen One left the village of Arroyo to find a Gek to revitalize the land of their home.
The Enclave located Vault 13 and sent a signal via the Vault-Tec network to tell them to open the vault. When they did, the Enclave gunned them down and captured the rest of the population for experimentation. They left intelligently augmented Deathclaws in the vault to prevent any Wastelanders from entering.
Are you kidding me? So you're gonna let the freaking Enclave come in, but you won't let a former resident come in who saved your vault?
Well, see, all vaults were told to await the all-clear signal from Vault-Tec. That obviously never came. For whatever reason, Vault 8 received a glitch and they thought they heard it. Vault 13, however, the Enclave basically hijacked the network and told them, hey, it's all clear. And so they opened up like, oh, hey, how's it going? The world must be better. Nope.
Wow. The NCR Enclave War began when the Enclave began its attacks.
The Enclave attempted to exterminate all irradiated people in the world from their headquarters in the Poseidon oil rig off the coast. But the Chosen One destroyed the platform, killed the president and Frank Horrigan, and saved the world.
Yep. That's a very apt description of, like, this is like the entirety of the main storyline in Fallout 2.
Yep.
After the Enclave threat left the Wasteland, the survivors of Vault 13 and Arroyo reunited and elected the Chosen One as their new elder.
The Chosen One secretly sired a child with a member of the bishops in New Reno.
Oh, because, yeah.
One of your companions could actually be either like the wife or the daughter of the leader of the family.
Oh, okay. A mutant tree began to grow in Harold's mutant head and even started bearing fruit.
With the Wasteland safer after the Enclave's defeat, many regions and territories joined in the NCR's expansion.
In 2246, Edward Sallow and Bill Calhoun, two followers of the Apocalypse, met with Mormon missionary Joshua Graham to study tribal dialects, but Edward was interested in Roman literature he found.
In 2247, when captured by the Blackfoot tribe, Edward taught them how to combat in warfare. He impressed them until he began leading them.
Edward renamed himself Caesar and made Joshua his second in command. He began to create an ideal of a new Roman Empire and assimilated other tribes by force. He let Calhoun inform the followers of the Apocalypse about the new Caesar's Legion, Caesar's Legion, whatever.
In 2248, NCR President Tandy died at the age of 103. Joanna Tibbet became the next president.
103? That must be an insane lifespan, especially in the Wasteland.
Oh, yeah, and they had no term limits.
Oh, yeah. Okay. In 2250, Harold wandered to the capital Wasteland, but the tree in his head grew so large it encompassed his whole body, and he found himself unable to move anymore. This is also within the entirety of Fallout 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, they continued the Herald tradition going because he was appearing in like every game up to that point.
Oh, he appeared in the older games?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Don't you remember?
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
It's actually funny because you can't kill him off in Fallout 3. He wasn't able to appear in New Vegas after that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, not really kill him off, but he's stuck there.
Yeah, it really, yeah.
Anyway, where are we at? In 2253, when NCR citizens expanded into the Mojave Wasteland, 38 of them were massacred by raiders. The NCR responded by electing President Wendell Peterson and sending infantry into the Mojave.
In 2254, the capital chapter of the Brotherhood was sent to the capital wasteland in search of technology.
In 2255, Kaiser's Legion expanded quickly, and the capital was founded in Flagstaff, Arizona.
The Capital Brotherhood found a terrible raider town called the Pit in what used to be Pittsburgh. They wiped the raiders out in what became known as the Scourge before leaving the town.
Many children were allowed to join the Capital Brotherhood and not be left there, but this violated their rules. In protest, one member named Asher stayed behind to rebuild the pit as he saw fit.
The Capital Brotherhood established a new base in the ruins of the Pentagon in the Capital Wasteland, calling it the Citadel.
In 2256, the Chosen One's child took control of the bishops and cemented their power in New Reno as the NCR took over the area.
In 2257, some scientists began Project Purity in the Capital Wasteland, trying to invent a way to mass purify irradiated water.
In 2258, one of the scientists, James, had a child with Catherine who died in childbirth. James abandoned Project Purity. Star Paladin Cross of the Brotherhood helped him move to live within Vault 101 so he could raise his child.
In 2259, Dr. Madison Lee arrived in Rivet City and astounded them with her scientific knowledge.
In 2267, the Great Khans, reformed from the original Khans, moved into the Mojave Wasteland, away from the NCR.
In 2270, the General Aaron Kimball of the NCR led a campaign to destroy the hostile tribes south of the Mojave and became a war hero.
In 2271, the Ranger Unification Treaty was signed between the NCR and the Desert Rangers of the Mojave, absorbing them into the NCR.
The Capital Brotherhood protected a man who called himself Three Dog as he restarted Galaxy News Radio in the Capital Wasteland.
In 2273, the NCR's military scouts discovered Hoover Dam. House of Securitrons witnessed this and realized the threat the NCR posed. House immediately set all of his plans into action before the NCR could act.
Kimball was elected president of the NCR.
House offered tribes in the ruins of Vegas to join him in his plans. The Boot Riders, Slitherkin, and Mojave's Cannibals accepted and reformed into the Chairmen, Omertas, and White Glove Society, respectively. The Kings refused and were relocated.
Vault 21 was discovered underneath Vegas. House won the vault in a game of blackjack and exiled the vault dwellers and filled up the vault. Because it did not fit in with his plan, Sarah Weintraub convinced House to keep the top level as a hotel.
With House's plans, robots, and labor, they rebuilt the city into New Vegas within a year.
In 2274, Kimball sent a military force to occupy Hoover Dam, but instead found it was occupied by House. They negotiated the Treaty of New Vegas, and Sarah was allowed to occupy the dam and create a military presence if they recognized New Vegas autonomy and diverted some electricity their way. One stipulation was that the NCR cannot prevent anyone from indulging in the casinos on the Strip, including soldiers.
In 2275, the followers of the Apocalypse opposed the NCR's expansionism, and the NCR responded by disavowing the followers and creating the Office of Science and Industry to replace them.
Kaiser's Legion amassed forces east of Hoover Dam once they discovered it.
In 2276, some members of the Capital Brotherhood felt betrayed by their humanitarianism and splintered to form the Brotherhood Outcasts.
The Van Graffs of New Reno arrived in Freeside, which was the lawless area around New Vegas ruled by the Kings, with the support of the followers of the Apocalypse.
Basically another crime family. The prototype synth Dima tried to live a peaceful life off the coast of Maine on the island of Far Harbor. When humans that lived there refused peace, he killed their leader, Captain Avery, and replaced her with a friendly synth. He wiped his memory of what he had done. The
NCR and the Brotherhood became embroiled in the NCR Brotherhood War.
The Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood occupied Helios 1, a unique solar power plant. The NCR attacked them to take the facility when the Brotherhood refused to leave because of their elder Elijah's stubbornness.
The Mojave Brotherhood retreated to Hidden Valley and began isolationism under Elder McNamara when Elijah ran off.
In 2277, a series of towns west of New Vegas formed a new faction called the Divide, sustained by couriers stimulating trade. Someone called the Courier delivered a package that unknowingly contained ICBM launch codes that activated hidden missile silos in the Divide, destroying it entirely.
The first Battle of Hoover Dam occurred in the NCR Legion War when the Legion attempted to take Hoover Dam. The NCR gave the Legion their first defeat. For Legate Joshua Graham's failure, he was set on fire and tossed into the Grand Canyon. His name was erased from the Legion's written history, but rumors called him the Burned Man.
Marcus the Supermutant and some reformed supermutants settled around Black Mountain in the Mojave Wasteland.
Around Black Mountain, didn't they?
Nope, Black Mountain.
Oh. Okay. Surviving members of the Enclave splintered into separate factions. One traveled east towards the old capital of the U.S. and became the Capital Enclave.
Fallout 3 began when the Lone Wanderer's father, James, escaped from Vault 101 despite the Overseer's isolationist policy so that he could resume Project Purity. The Lone Wanderer followed to search for him.
The Lone Wanderer met Moira Brown in the town of Megaton, and they created the Wasteland Survival Guide, which soon became the most popular post-war book in the Wasteland.
The Capital Enclave captured Project Purity. James sacrificed himself to allow the scientist and his son, the Lone Wanderer, to escape. The Enclave made their presence in the Capital Wasteland clear as they took it over, attracting attention from the Capital Brotherhood and starting the Brotherhood Enclave War.
The Lone Wanderer assisted the Brotherhood Outcasts in retrieving technology from the Virtual Strategic Solutions facility by syncing their Pip-Boy to the Anchorage reclamations to simulation.
A slave named Werner escaped from the pit and enlisted the Lone Wanderer's help. The Lone Wanderer became enslaved in the pit for a time before winning enough challenges to earn their freedom and decide the pit's future.
The Lone Wanderer rode a ferry to Point Lookout in Maryland. They went through a tribe ritual there, and the ferryman gave them a small lobotomy.
The Lone Wanderer discovered a political rivalry between the Calverts and Desmonds were still ongoing, and decided between them and Point Lookout's future.
The Lone Wanderer took care of the ferryman and went back to the Capital Wasteland.
Zetans continued to abduct humans, even in the Wastelands. The Lone Wanderer was abducted into Mothership Zeta. They freed some of the other captives and revolted against their captors before taking over the spaceship.
The Lone Wanderer and their fellow captives operated Mothership Zeta as another mothership attacked, but they managed to shoot it down. Since the mothership was severely damaged, the Lone Wanderer went back to the Capital Wasteland to finish addressing problems there.
President John Henry Eden of the Capital Enclave and Colonel Augustus Autumn, also of the Capital Enclave, had a dispute that split their leadership. Eden offered the Lone Wanderer to take a vial of FEV, betting that the Lone Wanderer would defeat Autumn and reactivate Project Purity. Eden asked the Lone Wanderer to use the FEV in Project Purity to cleanse the wasteland of any mutated people.
That means everyone, because everyone's considered mutated because they're all exposed to radiation.
Everyone except for people that have lived in successful vaults, which is very few people.
Yeah. The Lone Wanderer, or the Capital Brotherhood, destroyed the Capital Enclave's local base at Raven Rock.
The Capital Brotherhood, with the help of Dr. Lee, managed to get the Pentagon's giant robot Liberty Prime working.
The Lone Wanderer, the Capital Brotherhood, and Liberty Prime defeated Autumn and his forces, forcing the Capital Enclave to retreat to Adams Air Force Base. The Lone Wanderer activated Project Purity without injecting FEV.
In 2278, the Lone Wanderer, the Capital Brotherhood, and Liberty Prime attacked Adams Air Force Base to finish off the Capital Enclave. But the Capital Enclave had acquired the mobile base Crawler, with access to military and artillery satellites that they used to destroy Liberty Prime.
The Lone Wanderer infiltrated the mobile base Crawler and wiped out the Capital Enclave's forces.
The Capital Brotherhood became the ruling faction in the Capital Wasteland, and they began to distribute purified Aqua Pura to the Wastelanders.
In the Mojave Wasteland, a Nightkin named Tabitha usurped Marcus's control over Black Mountain and founded the state of Utobitha. Some super mutants left with Marcus to found Jacobstown, but some stayed.
Great Khans abducted and killed a few NCR soldiers, prompting the NCR to retaliate in the confusion that became the Bitter Springs Massacre, where the NCR killed dozens of unarmed Great Khans and children.
Elder Lyons of the Capital Brotherhood died, and his daughter Sarah became the new elder. She, however, soon died in combat. The next elders were not as capable as the Lyons family.
In 2279, House's Securitron vault that contained his army of extra Securitrons experienced technical problems, radiation leaks, and power surges.
In 2281, the prisoners in the Mojave's NCR Correctional Facility overthrew the prison guards and became a gang known as the Powder Gangers.
New Canaan in Utah was destroyed by the Whitelegs tribe under the direction of the Legion member known as Ulysses. The Whitelegs were being prepared for assimilation, but Ulysses went rogue.
House finally found the platinum chip he needed for his defenses. He hired several couriers, but only one carried the real thing.
Ulysses and Elijah both separately visited the Sierra Madre, Zion, and Big Mountain to find history and technology, respectively.
Fall at New Vegas began when the leader of the chairman, named Benny, hired some Great Khans to help him take out the courier that carried the platinum chip and take it for himself.
Doc Mitchell in the town of Good Springs nursed the courier back to health, who then tracked Benny down in revenge while exploring the Mojave Wasteland.
Elijah enslaved anyone who came to the Sierra Madre and forced them to try to break into the vault in the casino. He sent the super mutant named Dog to capture more people.
Dog captured the courier, who was then enslaved by Elijah. The courier worked with the other slaves and opened the vault before returning to the Mojave Wasteland.
The courier assisted the Happy Trails Caravan Company to trek into Zion, but they were massacred by Whitelegs. The courier had to handle the Whitelegs there on behalf of the Dead Horses, Sorrows, and New Canaan tribes.
The courier was abducted by Big Mountain scientists and used as a lobotomite experiment. However, something odd occurred with their brain, making it a valuable scientific discovery. The courier had to retrieve their brain from Dr. Mobius and decide how to handle the scientists at Big Mountain.
The courier finally met Ulysses, another courier, in the Divide, and had a showdown with him.
In 2282, in the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, the courier initiated the turning point in the NCR Legion War and decided the fate of the Mojave Wasteland and New Vegas between the major factions. They either helped the NCR, Legion, House, or themselves.
Arthur Maxon, a descendant of the first elder, renegotiated and reestablished ties between the Capital Brotherhood and the West Coast Brotherhood.
The Capital Brotherhood repurposed the mobile-based crawler, vertibirds, and other machines in Adams Air Force Base to create a flying fortress called the Prydwen.
In 2283, Maxon negotiated a treaty with the Brotherhood outcasts, who remerged with the Capital Brotherhood. Maxon oversaw the restructuring of the chapters and emerged as the elder of the East Coast chapter.
In 2286, a raider named Coulter united three raider gangs, the Disciples, the Operators, and the Pack, and together they took over the Nuka World amusement park.
In 2287, Fallout 4 began when the sole survivor awoke from Vault 111 when the cryostasis failed. They went out into the Commonwealth to search for their son, Sean.
The sole survivor either destroyed the Institute for the East Coast Brotherhood, Railroad, or Minutemen, or they chose to spare the Institute instead.
Says a lot about Fallout 4 that you can summarize the ending in one sentence. A machinist named Isabella Cruz renamed herself the Mechanist and began terrorizing the Commonwealth with her customized robots, but the sole survivor stopped her.
The sole survivor teamed up with the detective synth Nick Valentine to go to the island of Far Harbor. There was tension between the inhabitants of Far Harbor, the Synths of Acadia, and the Children of Adam cult. The sole survivor decided whether they lived in peace or needed to be reduced.
The sole survivor usurped Coulter as the leader.
Oh, wait. I forgot. Sorry, before you say that. The sole survivor encountered Vault 88 and worked with the Overseer there to try to rebuild the population of the Vault.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and then what you were saying?
The sole survivor usurped Coulter as the leader of Nuka World and became the biggest raider boss in the Commonwealth. One of the raider gangs turned on them, but the other two supported them.
In 2291, the NCR experienced a massive food shortage due to overpopulation and overexpansion.
In 2297, Maura Brown wrote a book of the best and the most useful tales of the Lone Wanderer for the next generation.
In 2316, Mr. Bishop, the Vault Dweller's great-grandson, died quietly in his sleep, never knowing of his lineage.
In 2910, a sonic invasion of Big Mountain occurred that only the artificial personality Blind Dio Jefferson could repel.
And that's it. 2910 is the last known date in the Fallout universe.
All right.
All right, so we managed to get that done in time. What'd you think, Kira?
I think that it is a very comprehensive history of everything that happened.
Yeah, and even then, like, we had to leave out stuff. Like, the Fallout story is just so intricately detailed because you have, like, the accounts of survivors across the wasteland, you know?
Mm-hmm, that's true.
So,
and if you tried to include every event that happened in the games, however they chose to end that, it's would be way too difficult.
right, so we tried to actually keep it down to just the most important things.
I really liked how you summarized the main quest of Fallout 1 and 2, and then Fallout 4 came, and you could do the ending in one sentence.
Oh, yeah, it was just extremely inconsequential.
Yeah, whereas New Vegas, like, you could summarize the ending in one sentence, but so much happened.
I could have mentioned that, like, the East Coast Brotherhood became, genocidal maniacs after they decided that synths should be purged from the world. And so they naturally had a rivalry with the Institute. But they didn't actually do anything until you came along.
Yeah, that's very true.
Until the sole survivor came along, rather. Mm-hmm. Anything else? You had any other questions?
No, that was really comprehensive. So I really don't think anyone else wanting an overview of, like, the major events in Fallout would have any questions about this, because, like, this is, like, everything.
I don't know. There could be questions. Questions are always good. Send us your questions if you got any, listeners.
Yes, definitely.
But,
because he'll be able to answer them because he knows, like, almost everything there is to know about Fallout.
But definitely next time, I want to do a one over the vaults.
Oh, yes. All the vault experiments and how
Yes.
the vaults ended up, going into detail on that.
They are really interesting.
Yeah, because we mentioned some of them that opened and had a huge impact on the story, but...
Yeah, I mean, like, what was it, Vault 15, right? That's where the NCR came from, as well as the Vipers, Jackals, Cons. Mm-hmm. So many raider gangs.
Yeah. But I think learning about all the vault's experiments in detail would be really cool.
And you can see what happened to some of the factions from before the war, like House was still around.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I guess we could talk about what happened to some of the endings to the games. I think that might be worthwhile.
Okay, yeah. I don't know any of the endings except for New Vegas, though. Well, actually, Fallout 3, true. So.
Well, yeah, I don't know all of them. The first Fallout game, that's with the Vault Dweller, and you're in California.
Yes.
And the ending of that game is really just, I mean, it depends on, like, the fate of all the individual towns. You defeat the Master, right? Mm-hmm. But you can actually convince the Master to commit suicide if you tell him about the Sumerians being sterile. Mm-hmm. I think, oh yeah, and then there was, like, if you get, like, a really good ending, the NCR is formed, the New California Republic.
Oh, really?
So they built upon that in future games.
Oh, no, not in future games, in New Vegas.
Well, Fallout 2 as well.
Yeah, but that was by, the original makers. Bethesda hasn't touched the NCR.
They actually referenced the NCR one time in Fallout 4. If you guys have listened to any of our other episodes about Fallout, then you obviously know that we, especially Kira, has quite an animosity towards...
Oh, especially me? Come on. You feel the same exact way.
I got it out of my system.
Okay, fair enough, but this has brought it up again, talking about the events.
I mean, Fallout 76 is a new Fallout game that's coming out shortly.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't really talk about that, but it looks like even when it comes out, it's probably still not going to be very relevant in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it probably won't have, it's not going to have any story-relevant events.
It looks like it's going to be some type of multiplayer battle royale kind of thing.
Yeah, not very interesting.
I mean, I don't know. I'll hold out judgment for that, but
until it comes out, fair enough.
Just keep in mind, if there is any story relevance that they bring about, it's actually not going to be in this episode. So keep an addendum for that.
Yes, and also, I have no confidence in Bethesda to make a good Fallout 76. So
It makes me sad because I really did used to wish for a multiplayer Fallout game in the past. I don't want to count them out because I know it's possible to make a good one. I just don't have much faith in them.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay, but anyway, Fallout 2, right? Mm-hmm. So in Fallout 2, you have to stop the Enclave. Mm-hmm. I actually don't remember much of the endings.
Okay, Fallout 3 then.
Sorry.
You actually do have the choice to put the FEV in Project Purity and kill everyone.
Oh yeah, you can do that. And you know what's funny is you're told at the beginning of the game that you're a vault dweller that's lived in the vault the whole life, right? Mm-hmm. So theoretically, I could drink Aqua Pura and be fine. Because even though it's now laced with FEV, you're not a mutant. It won't hurt you. But it turns out you were lied to. If you drink it 3 times, it kills you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, if you put the FEV in it, that happens?
Yes.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Sorry, I got really excited.
It's a nice detail.
Yes.
And, okay, what else can you do in Fallout 3? You can kill the Brotherhood, but it's really hard. You basically have to, like, shoot them all the time before they'll ever even shoot back. Mm-hmm. Like, the mobile base crawler, you can choose to instead destroy the Citadel.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yep.
Oh, wait, I wonder, so do you find out that you weren't born in the vault if you put the FEV, or do you really not find out?
Oh, no, you find out earlier, but if you weren't paying attention, if you just kind of skip through it.
Oh, you wouldn't realize the significance of that.
And if you're an evil character that kills a lot of people, you might miss out on that dialogue.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not exactly sure when it happens, but it's possible that you just won't get that dialogue if you're evil.
Yep. And let's see, what else? Okay, well, I guess there's the DLC, because Fallout 3 really had a very linear story. Mm-hmm. Oh, you could burn Harrow alive with a flamethrower if you wanted.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And you could become a slaver. The Lone Wanderer could. Oh, you could also kill Three Dog on the radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and afterwards he's replaced by a woman that just keeps mourning him.
Oh, that's sad.
Yep. She's like, if you wanted colorful commentary, then you shouldn't have killed Three Dog.
Did you kill him?
Oh, when I played my evil playthrough, yes, I did.
Yeah, I remember. We played that together.
What else? Oh, okay, so then there's the DLC, right? Mm-hmm. Which has next to no options.
Yeah, when you think about it, they're all pretty linear.
I guess Point Lookout, you can choose the Calvert, the guy, the politician who preserved himself by putting his brain in a jar, or Desmond, the politician preserved himself by purposefully ghoulifying himself.
And
but if you choose Desmond, yay. If you choose Calvert, he tries to kill you, and then you have to kill Desmond, and they're just both dead.
Yeah.
So it's not much of a choice.
Uh-huh. In the pit, you have a choice, too.
Oh, right, yeah. You can either choose with the slavers or the enslaved.
Yes, exactly. And that changes the whole area depending on your choice.
That
Yeah.
Although that is a bit interesting moral choice, because if you side with the slavers, if you side with the slaves, you actually have to kidnap the slaver's baby.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it's an interesting moral choice, although still the right one in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
What else?
Mothership Zeta didn't have any choices.
The first time I played it, I killed the cowboy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they've abducted people from across history,
right?
Yeah,
you told me that story.
Yeah, you could get the samurai, the cowboy, the Anchorage soldier, the astronaut, the little girl, and then the former slaver. Mm-hmm. And you guys all have to work together, except the astronaut dies. Mm-hmm. And I hated the cowboy because there's this one scene where there's an alien begging for its life. And by the way, even though you have to kill the aliens, there's like worker aliens that don't pose a threat, and you lose karma if you kill them. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, it's not their fault. They're an alien species, right? They might have been forced to be on here, right?
Yeah. So
I left the alien workers alone. Anyway, there's this one alien that's like begging for its life, and the cowboy is really angry at it and has had it held hostage at gunpoint. Mm-hmm. He mouths off some words and then he shoots it in the head while it's begging for its life.
Wow.
And the game didn't give me any option to say that was not okay. So I was just so upset. I was like, no, that is not right. That is not what we're doing here.
And you killed him?
We are fighting oppressors and you're just as bad. So yeah, I immediately killed him because the game wouldn't give me an option. So I just unleashed my frustration with a sword. However, and I was okay with that. I was like, you know what? I'm saving this. I don't give a crap. And you know what? I'm taking your unique gun.
Oh, wow.
But later I replayed the game. And if you don't kill him, he later confesses to you that the aliens killed his wife and daughter.
Oh.
So while I don't think killing that specific alien wasn't that specific alien's fault, I do kind of understand his emotional motivation. So now I don't kill him anymore when I play the game. But the first time I did, I was
That's
POW.
funny.
You could, whatever. So, okay, then Fallout New Vegas. So Fallout New Vegas was amazing.
Yes.
You can have the NCR, except the Mojave is a new state.
Yes.
You could have House become independent, and he has his own environment, but he keeps the NCR around.
Yeah, he like works with them.
But, you know, it's very classist. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Mm-hmm. And then the Legion, they can just terrify the place. And if you kill Caesar or Kaiser and you still side with the Legion, Legate Lanius takes control and just basically massacres everyone.
Yeah, and then you could also take over the entire region for yourself.
By
which I
utilizing
think,
AI, an AI named Yes Man.
yes, and which was Benny's plan all along. But yeah, I think that's really cool that you can do that, because so many games like, oh, choose between factions, and it's like, I'm the leader of like all of these. Why can't I just walk in and say, you know what? I have so many people supporting me because I'm the leader of all these factions. Y'all are going to stop fighting. Like, I'm going to come in here and take over the place.
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Lack of options much.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been over Fallout 4 enough, so why don't we just call it quits here?
All right.
All right, so this has been Game Theorem, right?
Yes.
We have social media. We have so much social media, you might as well nuke it. And, we have an email, gametheorems@gmail.com.
Yes.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Kira.
Bye.
Bye.